Captain's Log Supplemental. We are in the second month of observation of the pre-war Prindosian civilization. Most of the nations seem to function under a type of representative democracy, but there are certainly some unusual aspects to it. The candidates hold debates before elections and talk about their views and beliefs, which seems fairly normal. But at any point, one of the candidates can approach the other and initiate a physical conflict by slapping the other across the face, at which point they engage in what I can only describe as a headbutting contest. They make use of their thick frontal cranial ridges and go back and forth for some time. When one concedes, the other is then granted uninterrupted talking time for the next question. It was quite interesting to see something so straightforward in politics.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Captain's Log Supplemental. We are a Star Trek rewatch podcast. Each week, we're marching ahead, watching episodes in chronological order by star date. My name is Rob. As always, I am joined by my two friends and co-hosts, Stanford.
Hello.
And Chris.
Hey there.
And our producer, Mariah, is also around, but just stepped out of the office for a moment, so she'll be right back.
That makes it sound so fancy when you say out of the office. Ooh, out of the studio. She stepped out of the studio.
She stepped, the fancy studio.
Intending to some important business.
Table.
Yeah, she had to take an important call.
Yeah, from a client.
Oh.
How are you guys doing this week?
Doing good.
I'm good. You know, Liam is at his grandmother's for the week, so we've had no child all week, and that's been its own ups and downs in terms of like, yay, but also like, nah, I kind of miss my kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever been away from the kids that long. Like a couple days at most, usually.
We were away from him for this long before because we had to go to Kentucky for a trial. And we didn't take him with us. He was a lot younger then. He was like 4-ish, maybe. Maybe even younger, actually. Yes, y'all watched him for a bit. And I think Shandy did too. But like this is the first time I've been in my house for a week, and he's just not been here.
Yeah, you know it's funny. We the kids, the school around here, every year, like the fifth graders, their elementary school, they would do like a trip into like the Ozarks,
right?
And they'd be there for like a week. It was like a long trip, and they do like hiking and a bunch of other stuff and nature things. And every year they'd done that until this coming year is the first year it's been canceled. So everybody was. I don't know the exact reasons. I think it's mostly just like the organizers didn't want to organize it anymore. So.
Okay.
I don't know. Hiking the Ozarks with a bunch of little kids for a week sounds horrible. So I wouldn't.
I mean, I agree. However, was disappointed that they were, because like outside of just having them be away, which of course is nice in its own ways. I was looking kind of for them to kind of being getting some little on their own time, and
sure.
I always felt like I grew up a little bit anytime like I was away from my parents for like an extended period of time, like. I kind of got to function on my own a little bit more, even when, of course, I had other people's parents or whatever around. It definitely I grew up as a person, I think, in those time periods. So,
see, I've always been a codependent little bitch. So, like all of my memories of being away from like my family, I was like, I'm fucking depressed. like I cried the first night of college. Because I was just like, and it was genuinely not like I don't want to be here, but it's like fuck, I miss being home right now. Like,
yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I had a hard time being away from home. But I remember when I was in college, I was like, yes, I am no longer at home.
Well, I mean, I feel like things with relationships had changed by that point. So
that is true.
Yeah.
I guess. Speaking of ups, while Liam's been away, Chris, we actually played BattleTech Alpha Strike tonight. We finished the first game, the first scenario.
Oh,
And
that sounds
the
fun.
inner sphere emerged victorious.
Well,
Piloted by yours
underdogs.
truly.
Cheaters. That's what they are. The Innosphere is cheaters. Actually, so yeah, like I didn't know this is what we were gonna talk about, but like, yeah, it's this like starter set that you've got, like the Alpha Strike like starter set. It's a pretty nice little game. The first scenario just kind of gets your feet wet, so like it's I don't know, it's tough to explain, but like it felt good. Like it felt like we were having a good time rather than just like feeling like a slog like first games and shit like that usually do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like a miniature like battle game, kind of like the various like X-wing ones and stuff are? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like Warhammer except it's Mech Warrior, so therefore cooler.
Sure.
Yep.
And also it's it's Alpha Strike, so it's like these smaller fire teams instead of like the huge like armies. Although I guess like there's nothing that could keep you like there's nothing that would stop you from playing larger encounters, Rob, in this system.
So I think it's actually the opposite in terms of like actual gameplay. The lances like wind up being larger in Alpha Strike, but that's also because the gameplay is faster. So like they do away with the hexes and traditional battle tech. Everything's just moved via
right.
I meant ruler.
I meant as in comparison to Warhammer.
Oh,
because Warhammer armies, like Warhammer has a smaller version called
huge.
Fire Team, I think, which is more like this size, where like you get a squad and you go from there. But like regular Warhammer fights can be fucking massive.
Yeah, they take a long time too.
And I'm not sure. I feel like the BattleTech system could handle that if they wanted to. It didn't seem like.
Yeah, I think so.
It would actually be kind of cool if because it would be cool in BattleTech if you had more than 2 players and like a different player had like their own couple lances or whatever. Even if like 2 of them were on the same team, like you could balance it that way.
Yeah, well, so like I've heard of people doing just that, where like one person will play the clans, and then you got 2 teams of inner sphere mechs going up against them.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
It is cool. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. Well, maybe once we figure out Mech HQ, we can get Chris in.
Mech HQ?
Yeah, Mech HQ is like
digital thing.
Yeah, it's like a digital 2-dimensional tabletop version of BattleTech. The problem is that it's using a Java that they haven't made since like the Stone Age. So my computer can't figure it out, and Rob hasn't had the time to figure it out because he's better with computers.
Sure.
Yeah. One day.
We have to like dig out a 486 or some shit and just put it up like, this is my battle mech.
So anyway, I guess on to some actual Star Trek content. This week we watched season 3, episode 14 of Star Trek Enterprise, titled Strategem. This week kicks off with a knocked out Degra, who is kind of like a recurring Xindi bad guy. He represents they call them the primates, right?
Right. He's usually the one who's getting yelled at by all the other Xindi.
Yeah, he's the Xindi cuck. Like he's
Oh, God.
Where's my weapon? I just need some more time. Leave me alone.
Yeah, so he's knocked out, lying on the floor of a strange spacecraft. Also very confused at seeing a disheveled Archer at the helm, and seems not to recognize him, which also surprising given the history of the 2 of them so far.
Well,
do they know?
I don't
think Archer's ever actually been seen.
And Degra had never actually seen a human, so I think it
makes me.
It is weird though, because like the Xindi have had confrontations. Like you didn't like show those photos to nobody.
They
like
stole biometric data from them, so
right. I don't know. Like I kind of feel like there's like Archer wanted posters all over Xindi territory.
Yeah, like Archer infiltrated that like facility. Yeah. Like they couldn't and like I understand that at the time, like he got away with it, but they couldn't like later go in and do some like camera work or whatever.
Yeah. Again, like all of Star Trek is just confounded at the idea of a security camera.
There's no security cameras anywhere. Yeah.
No.
He was on their
ship. They're not on board with that.
He was on their ship.
He was.
In their cargo hold, and they don't have a fucking photo of him?
Nope. I mean, to be fair, I guess they didn't know to go looking for it, but also, why? I don't understand. Like, nobody here has any actual sense of security. It's very strange.
Like, the shittiest gas station you've ever seen has 3 fucking security cameras, and these, like, massive starships don't have one.
No, they don't get robbed all the time, so
that's fair. That's fair. They do have, to be fair, they do have one of those height chart meters next to the airlock, so, like, that's
I was going to say. So they come under fire from some insectoid Xindi ships. Degra tells Archer to hail them so that he could tell them to hold their fire, but Archer replies that it's been a long time since Xindi took orders from you, I guess implying that Degra had fallen out of popularity.
Yeah, and
he didn't seem that popular to begin with.
Archer has long hair, so the implication is that like some years have gone by or something.
Some time has passed, right?
How long did it take y'all to figure it out?
Well, I mean, okay, so I knew immediately because I remembered this episode.
That's how I was too.
So maybe Rob's a better.
Yeah, Rob, how long did it take you to figure it out? Did it take until they told you, or did you figure it out sooner?
No, I actually had time to think about it once Faith of the Heart kicked in, and I was like, okay, this has to be like, it's either a time travel episode or they're like messing with Degra.
Right.
Like I knew that this wasn't like legit.
Right.
You know?
There's at the end of this mode, like this scene, I'm like, I can't tell if Archer is a bad actor or if Bakula is a bad actor.
Why not both?
Yeah. Porque no los dos.
Porque no los dos.
Yeah. So they wind up venting the shuttle's warp plasma to jam up the insectoid ship engines. This is like a recurring thing in Enterprise that they keep pulling back.
Yeah, like back then, no one figured out how to put a shutter on their intake manifold. So it's just warp plasma straight up the poop chute there, yeah. They
need like a warp gutter guard.
It's one of those things where it's like, again, we're in space, what are you intaking? Like, I understand the impellers and the fucking Bussard rams and scoops and shit. Like, sometimes you need to scoop up some interstellar hydrogen or whatever the fuck. Fine. But, like, in the middle of combat, what are you scooping up?
The blood of their enemies.
Yeah.
So anyway, Degra demands to know who Archer is. He's floored when he learns that Archer is a human. Archer tells him that the two of them escaped from an insectoid prison colony, and they've been stuck there for 3 years. Also, that they've been cellmates, and that the Xindi-human conflict is over, and the humans lost.
There's a lot of exposition here, and like...
Yeah.
Is it like... It's one of those things where it's like the character's in this weird position where, like, unlike normal, he actually does have to tell the other characters what's going on.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this is a lot of exposition, but I guess I'll give it a little bit of a pass.
Yeah. Archer winds up redirecting them once they start pulling away from the insectoids to a system he thinks is safe, and we get some Faith of the Heart.
This is the gaslighting episode.
It is the gaslighting episode.
It's not gaslighting. They never told Degra he's crazy. Oh, no, I guess they did tell him that you just don't remember. So, no, that is gaslighting. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the.
It's not as bad as Inner Light, but like, yeah, it is pretty gaslighty.
So speaking of which, Archer fakely intuits that the bloodworms used during Degra's interrogation have wiped out his recent memories. Says the same thing happened to him once, so maybe his memories will come back. Maybe he'll be lucky. Who knows? The last thing that Degra remembers is the super weapon test failing. Interestingly, he doesn't seem to recall why.
There is this bloodworm thing is like an example of, it is very strange how divided the Xindi cultures are. Because like it seems like he doesn't know shit about the reptilians.
Right.
No. And like I understand that they are like somewhat different, like in terms of physiology and whatnot. But like, why don't you know anything about them?
So anyway.
What I thought was interesting too in this episode is we got to a certain point here where Archer and Degra are talking, and I guess I didn't remember that the timeline for the Zindi, like, blowing themselves up and then immediately going after the humans was so compacted.
Yeah, like they hadn't even found a new homeworld yet.
Right. Like, because he talks about the formation of the council and everything. To Archer, and he's like, yes, after the homeworld was destroyed, we formed this council to help find a thing. But then we found out about you humans being dickbags, and we just had to kill you first. So, yeah, it's like, it seems weird to me that would preempt everything else.
Yeah. Well, what's funny too here is like the very next sentence here was Archer explaining about how like they had managed to slow the weapons program down, but failed it. And they even play on that because he says, like, as soon as the war with the humans ended, the Zindi went back to their civil war again.
Right.
So, like, clearly it's still a problem. And Degra's not even really surprised that it happened. So, like, to your point, it's still fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we don't really know anything about Zindi lifespan, so they may live for hundreds of years. So maybe he just remembers because he's been around that long, but... Yeah, I get the same impression you do, Chris, that it's been relatively recent. Yeah, we get a very creepy scene where Degra sees the little bloodworm writhing under his skin.
Ew.
And asks Archer to remove it.
Ew, bloodworm.
Archer obliges, pulls the creepy worm out of his wrist, much to Degra's relief. And Archer starts reminiscing about how him and Degra grew close together while they were in prison. Says the insectoids put them together as like a morbid joke, I guess. Started off with both of them trying to literally murder each other. But eventually, they came to terms and agreed to help each other escape. So, best of pals. Archer says that the Enterprise was destroyed by a Zindi boarding party, and that's when they captured him in one fell swoop. Degra wants to go looking for his family, but is worried about being recaptured. That's when the reactor coolant just starts exploding out of the wall. As it does. Archer gives Degra a mask to protect himself, since, he still has a family, is what the excuse that Archer gives him. Asks him to fix the leak. Degra does seal it up and then resuscitates Archer. And again, this is all, as we've noted, a means of, I guess, Archer ingratiating himself to Degra, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Playing into it all. Stanford. Yeah.
Well, so and we're about to get to it, but like I have a fundamental issue with this episode, and we're just about there. So you keep going, and I'll stop you and complain then.
Okay. So while Degra's sleeping, Archer takes a syringe out of a hidden compartment underneath of, I think it's a sink. I don't really know.
It's a hypo.
And then injects Degra. Then looks up at the recording camera and calls out to T'Pol. At this point, the shuttle's door bay opens up and Archer just steps into the Enterprise's docking bay.
And here's where I had an issue. Like, the premise of the show is fine. I've seen it before, but it's fine. It's whatever. But like, they should have kept it going. I think this would have been a better reveal at the end of the episode.
It's funny. Yeah. My exact thought when I was watching that scene is like, oh, Stanford's not gonna like this.
Well, because the next scene is 3 days earlier, and then we find out like this other shit, and then I'm like,
so
for fuck's sake.
I did find that sequence very disorienting.
It's
like, okay,
yeah, it was
we reveal it's a ruse, which fine, whatever. But then we, without any type of lead-in, jump back to 3 days prior.
Right, so it's this level of like they acted. It was almost like they were acting like this was the end of the cold open, but it wasn't. We were like firmly in Act 1 here, but also like. They tell this, the narrative that they are presenting to us for the first 20 minutes of this show is then put on hold for them to tell a separate narrative about them taking Degra and stuff. It was just
Which I don't think was necessary.
Really poorly done. It just was ham-handed.
Yeah. I don't think it was necessary. Like, maybe if you wanted to throw like a blurb, like if they did, I think that would have been more impactful if they had saved the reveal towards like the last 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. Like you do this whole thing, and like as the audience, you're like, what the fuck is happening here? But then like shit goes weird or whatever, and then like Like, you don't even need Degra to try to get the upper hand or whatever. That whole last part that we're going to get to eventually is also like, this is all completely unnecessary. It should have been like revealed in the classic like way that these movies usually go, where like Degra, like his entire like emotional and heart kind of sinks out from under him as he realizes that he's been had like this whole time, and the audience is like, oh fuck, I knew something was going on. Like, that's how you tell this story. But they didn't. Yeah. It's like the writers couldn't fucking wait to tell you how clever they were.
Well, and like I feel like that is a recurring problem in Enterprise.
100%.
They feel like it's like they're trying to tell a story in an elevator pitch, but like they wrote that as the script,
right?
I think it's a lack of faith in the audience.
Yes, it's that. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like they don't trust the audience to understand what's happening, or not even like it's okay if the audience buys into it as well. That's part of the fun, right? That's part of the fun of the reveal. We wake up on Degra. We should have been in Degra's point of view the whole time. Like maybe even if you need filler, like flashback to Degra's past and stuff. Like let's learn something about Degra here. But we don't.
Yeah.
Instead, we waste time with this shit and like these fake fucking stakes with the hydraulics going weird and shit. It was just useless. It was so poorly done.
I mean, hey, we did learn a few things about Degra. He has a wife named Nara and 2 kids of an indeterminate age.
Which I gotta be honest, like, there's a level of like, if I never met someone's kids, I'm not 100% sure I would be able to answer right off the bat which one was older.
Right.
Like that's
No.
that's a staggering leap of like, you should be able to answer this, motherfucker.
I mean, I guess they did spend time in a cell together. What else are you going to do, right? Besides talk about yourself.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, like, I've got coworkers that I've worked with for the better part of a decade. I know their kids' names. I don't know which one's older or younger.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's very obvious,
work is like
talk
jail.
about one being in college or something.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy with your kids, Chris, because they're fucking twins. Like,
That'd been a fun trick question. He could guess wrong and like trick question. They're twins.
See, and that would be that would be great. That would be a fantastic order. As if it's like which one's older? It's like you said Nora was older. It's like trick question. They're twins. It's like, oh shit, like that. Great.
Yeah, but then Stanford on your side, like, who's older? Is it Liam or is it Liam?
What? You completely lost me. Oh god,
that fell super flat. He's an only child. It was supposed to be a joke. Please clap.
Oh, that was just please clap. Rick Jeb Bush. I know he's not dead, but his political career is dead. It's that and Pyaw that I remember from that fucking campaign.
Who was that? Ed?
No, that was a
Howard Dean. Dean. I was like, I think
Howard Dean.
He was a Democrat.
Back when I was in high school.
Pyaw? No. It was not that long ago. It was like 2012, 2016.
No, it was not.
Yeah, it really was in the original GW campaign. Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, so yeah, T'Pol and team hit the command center. What?
2004.
2004. We were in high school.
Yep.
July of 2004. So no, we weren't. God damn! I feel like that was so much more recent. I feel so old right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're fucking ancient. I don't know what to tell you.
The little tactical expert team here hits the command center. They start looking around for a red giant near where Degra said that their family might be holed up. At this point, as Stanford noted, we cut back to 3 days earlier. Enterprise returned back to the weapons proving ground to scan the debris left by the weapon. They pick up Degra's ship on sensors, and Enterprise intercepts and then disables the ship, taking Degra and his 2 officers captive.
On one of those like open office plan bridges.
Yeah.
It's like the humanoid Zindi. Their bridges were made by like WeWork.
Yeah. Well, we also in the flashback we get a nice our favorite Archer interrogation scene.
He does a very poor job here. Yeah, he does not do well. Fortunately, apparently, Flock spends his free time studying chemical warfare against their enemies, so that he can
I
make
was
them
going to
more.
say, Fox
Yeah,
describes his super cool and not work Rabby memory wipes plan.
I have related questions to this.
No, don't worry about it. It's fine. Flox is a great guy. They
Whenever
settle on
whenever Star Trek talks about memory engrams, I'm like, all right, whatever. But like, yeah, the idea that totally everyone is immediately cool with, oh, we'll just wipe our enemy's memory of what happened the last 2 days.
yeah.
What?
Listen, it's definitely not torture, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of torturing, they settle on creating a Disney ride. So they create a fake ship run by
Damn it,
hydraulics.
that was my line.
Where, yeah, they pretend that the two had escaped an insectoid colony, right? They all start preparing for this ruse, and hilariously,
Wait.
Archer asks T'Pol for help on the backstory.
Okay, hold on. Like, I have a related, completely tangential story to that Disney ride thing.
Oh,
So my
God.
dad and I were at this museum, and this is before I was in the wheelchair, and it was like an airplane. Oh, you know what? It was the Air and Space Annex out at Dulles, and they had this airplane simulator ride that was like it was like a flight simulator, except that the pod was like 100% actuated, like it could go upside down and shit.
Oh,
So
neat.
So we're like inside this pod, and we're like trying to fly this airplane, and I'm like steering, and Dad's like, I don't know, he's weapons or some bullshit, right? And we're having the best fucking time, because every time, like, we know how computers work. So obviously there's a moment where, because the pod, like, it would go upside down and it would pitch up and it would pitch down. But like there's a moment where if you pull straight up enough, you'll hit this moment where to the computer, you are technically upside down. So the pod would wing itself in a barrel roll as fast as it could. And it was surprisingly fast. So Dad and I were like, whoa. And like, unlike in an airplane where you're like strapped in and like your feet are tucked into the leg well and, you know, you're kind of like 8-point harnessed or stuff. This was just like a seatbelt and a lap bar. So like our legs are between us and the monitor because there's nothing holding them down as we're like upside down hanging off the ceiling of this fucking pod. And he's like, shoot the zero. I'm like, dude, I can't see shit right now. Oh, that was a fun little ride. We had a good time with that.
Dude, the ride operators must have been cracking up watching.
Oh yeah. Because on the outside, I'm sure it looked fucking ridiculous, and you could probably hear us giggling our tits off inside. And the nice thing was, it didn't have any exposure to the outside, so that like it didn't fuck with our ears at all, because like the only thing we could see was just like the screens. So like it didn't make us motion sick at all, which Dad sometimes gets.
That's fun.
That's fun.
Anyways, they built that, but a less fun version.
Yep. We cut back to real time, I guess, current time, with Archer and Degra. The engineering team is using hydraulics to rough the ship up to pretend that they're stuck in an anomaly field.
And my note here is like, see, this is completely uninteresting now. Like, it's not, now that the wool has been pulled away, like, it's boring.
Yeah. Archer does his best acting to say that, you know, they can't make it through and recommend sending out a distress call. They use that opportunity to get some Xindi command frequencies from Degra, though, which was pretty smart. Outside of the little play in the real world, Enterprise picks up a Xindi ship approaching the system at subspace somehow, because they see them coming. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
They're
later.
6 hours away. Shut up.
Yeah. T'Pol has Reed direct the ship back into the debris field for cover, despite the radiation risks.
Yeah, and the radiation is not hurting people, to be clear. It's like fucking with their systems.
Right.
It's like making like disruptions in the EPS grids and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not strong enough to hurt people if it can hurt a ship. I'm sure it's safe. Archer gets Degra drinking to loosen up his lips a little bit. They have a heart-to-heart about family and the importance of taking care of children.
Oh, she's like, Captain's drinking again. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but it was kind of ruined because they were like, "Oh yeah, but don't worry, Phlox gave him, a shot to keep him from getting drunk."
And again, like
Right.
that's a moment where like we could have found that out later. Because like they could have
Right.
had like some kind of like drinking contest or whatever, and Archer just fucking drinks him under the table, and you're like, God damn. And then later during the reveal process, it's like, yeah, I'll give you a thing so you don't get drunk. Like, great reveal later. Why are you telling me now? God, my God.
It would have been so much better. Like, all they had to do at the beginning of the episode was like, while they're sleeping, have Archer stand up and just sketchily move about the cabin, and then cut to commercial break. Just so, like, they're hinting, like they're foreshadowing a little bit, showing that, like, oh, Archer's up to
Right. Have
something.
him tap some shit into a console, but then like go back to sleep or something. Yeah, absolutely. Like have Archer be kind of sketch. That's fine, but don't tell us.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, here was the one part of this episode that I actually kind of appreciated. So turns out Degra was actually broken up about how many kids he may have killed on Earth during the weapons test.
Broken up might be strong.
It gave him pause.
I killed 3 million or 7 million people, and several of them were children. I'm so upset.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
And of course, he's like, this is the whole conversation where he's like the only legacy that matters is our kids. It's like, oh yeah, the real work is the children we made along the way. Like that's his entire philosophy.
Yeah. Hoshi gives him a call, pretending to be Thalen, one of Degra's colleagues from work. He's my friend
really
from
good
work.
impression of him.
Yeah, great. Well, I mean, it was like a voice
I
thing.
know. I was making a joke.
Oh, I'm bad at this. Anyway, convinces Degra that his family's still safe. Degra won't give Archer the coordinates, though, to the planet they were on. But he will put them into the nav computer and then somehow encrypt them afterwards, even though he had never even heard of the people who made this ship. Anyway.
Hey.
What?
All Star Trek computers work the same, Rob. Come on.
Okay. Great.
Star Trek 101.
Degra offers to cover for Archer when they do eventually make it to Azadi Prime. Apparently he's cool with him now. Unfortunately, at this moment, Enterprise starts experiencing some interference from the radiation in the debris field. Degra sees the computer screen on the side of the shuttle flicker. It was a window, and it looked like stars were passing by. But all of a sudden, he could like temporarily see outside into the landing dock for Enterprise, and starts to realize that something is definitely going on here. So naturally, first thing he does, grabs a shiv and demands Archer tell him the name of his children. So fortunately, they've got like this dermal communicator, which I don't understand why they don't have this always.
Well, no, the Makos
So
have
Hoshi
it. He doesn't, because shut up.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hoshi feeds him the names of the kids, but can't find their ages when Degra asks for the ages of the children. So Degra just attacks him with the shiv. Fortunately, security's there, bursts into the simulation, and reapprehends him. Degra then spend some time trying to convince Archer that Azadi Prime isn't the real location of the weapon.
So here's where I'm like, so we're just gonna go do another plot now. We're done with that plot. Fuck that plot.
Yeah.
We're on to another one.
Like,
and you can tell it's a different plot because Archer had time to cut his hair between scenes.
He was really upset at how long his hair got.
He looked awful, so I don't blame him.
Yeah, and like this is where it started to feel forced for me.
This whole sequence seemed
they had just run
fillery.
Yeah, and then like they wind up using the same solution twice to solve the problem.
I have later in my notes. Oh, another trick, zany. Like,
yeah.
There's this whole thing with the subspace vortices. That's like, what are we doing? What?
Yeah.
So that's apparently how like the Zindi do their warp, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
They're like, we copied it. Check it out. Oh God.
Yeah, Trip tells Archer that he thinks that he can replicate it. so that they can very quickly jump over to Azadi Prime and cut the travel time.
I think you're mixing up here. Azadi Prime was the insectoid facility that Degra got clued in on.
No. They're headed to Azadi Prime.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's right.
I think you are incorrect. Now,
I'm
I'm going to say something very, very, very informant here. I also got lost in there, so I want to say that they may have just accidentally used the same planet name for two separate planets. Because when the first time they were like, it is Azadi Prime. He's like, no, it's not. I'm like, wait, what? Azadi Prime? That's where they scooped up so-and-so. Like, that's not the same place. But yes, towards the end of the episode, Chris, whether or not this was true at the beginning of the episode, Azadi Prime is where they are headed at the red giant.
Yeah.
So I think your confusion may be that the writers of Enterprise forgot which planet they used for which.
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
So yeah, at this point, they start trying this, right? And
also, Trip says
some rough turbulence.
Trip says to Archer in their ship, he doesn't think that he can adapt that technology, but this is part of the ruse, I guess.
I guess, yeah, to make it seem like they're gonna have trouble. So they go ahead and try it anyway because Enterprise. They hit a bunch of turbulence. So the first thing they do is go grab both Degra and the ship's engineer out of the holding cell, drag them to engineering, and demand that the engineer help fix whatever's going on with the engines.
It's a charade.
It's a charade. Enterprise pulls through.
Well, Travis inverted the warp field and everything was fine.
They did, yeah. He fixed it all. They brought Degra up to the helm just to I guess make it more impactful. They land in system, right, and start marching towards where they think the super weapon is, and Degra reveals, they're never going to get close to that weapon because of the defense perimeter is going to destroy them. At this point, then confirming that the weapon is indeed on the planet that they thought it was. Archer, of course, reveals that this was another ruse, and flips the monitor back to them sitting inside the debris field, and return the Xindi to their craft, use the medicine to make them forget everything again, and take off for the planet with the
just go ahead and do that war crime twice.
Yeah. I mean, you did it once. You might as well do it a second time.
Yeah, I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound, right?
Yeah. This is the episode where they decide to use solutions multiple times, apparently.
Hey, yeah.
So, what'd you guys think of this one on a scale of 1 to 5, where 0 is threshold?
So,
what would you rate this one?
So, I think that I think the premise is a fine storytelling, execution once again not Enterprise's strong suit. So it wasn't terrible. It wasn't good. I'm really struggling here because I'm between 2 and 3.
Chris, there were 4 plots.
Yeah, 2. Yeah,
there you
right.
go.
It's 2. Because I know I've graded 2s before where this was better than, but I guess that's not saying much.
I was also this would have been a 3 if they'd done it well, if they'd done it better. Right. If they had done it because I'm obviously I'm the best writer that's ever lived. If they'd done it the way I would have done it, it probably would have almost been a 4 because that would have been an interesting fucking episode if they'd kept it going till the very end.
Definitely.
But I put it at 2. So the Azadi Prime thing, okay? So he says, they're trying to find where the weapon is being built. And he says, my family is on a planet near a red giant. And the Enterprise crew deduces that he would not let his family out of his sight while he was working on this weapon. So that must be the same planet. And then, during the fake call, Hoshi tells Degra that he's safe on Azadi Prime. So I don't know where Hoshi got that name from. It may have been in the letter or whatever. So Azadi...
Is it just like one of his like guys he was on the ship with?
It may have been, maybe, or it may have been the letter that they've been kind of using as information. So Azadi Prime and that where his family are the same planet. So that is, and there is indeed an entire episode called Azadi Prime that will be coming up.
Woo.
So Azadi Prime is the name of the planet that they are trying to find with their bullshit rooseries.
Rob, what was your rating for this one?
Oh, I should be writing these down.
Well, I guess unsurprisingly, given our history, I was originally going to give it a 4 until we had the redux of the same plot and then solution twice over again.
Where they abandoned their good storyline.
Yeah, I'm down to a 3.
Oh man, I missed the whole recap. That's a bummer.
Do you know what IMDb had this one at?
Yes. A
8.1.
Yeah, they gave it a 4 out of 5.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. Once again, I'm pretty sure that people who like these episodes like the recaps of these episodes. Because the little recap is like they erected an elaborate ruse to confuse Degra. It's like, oh, that sounds kind of like that. That might be interesting. No, this was shit.
Because it is an interesting plot.
It was an interesting plot for the first 10 minutes, and then the rest of it was shit. It was just so poorly executed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say shit, but it was bad. It wasn't good.
And considering that I've seen this plot so many times in like movies and done well, like Confidence Man does it. That one fucking Mission Impossible movie did it. Like, this is done so well so many times. And then this episode's like, I got an idea. How about we do this, but suck?
Well, I think you're right. I think they just wanted to, like, point out how clever they were too early.
They can't let something be interesting without telling us.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a recurring theme in the writing, unfortunately. We're going to take a little break here, and we'll be back for this week's deep dive. All right, welcome back, everybody. For this week's deep dive, I wanted to take a look into different FTL travel methods in Trek.
Ooh.
So, this week introduced an interesting new method, right? The Xindi subspace vortex. It sounds like the way it's supposed to work anyway. You use a ship's travel deflector or nav deflector, which I didn't even know the NX-01 had. I mean, I guess it makes sense that they at least have something that can push like asteroid debris out of the way.
Yeah.
Meteorites or micrometeorites.
The deflector shield is ostensibly in order to prevent, like, because you're going faster than light, is order to prevent like interstellar debris and like gases and stuff from going through your ship like Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
So like, because like if you warped through a nebula and you didn't have this, you would die. Now, that doesn't make a lot of sense considering they're also warping the space. So technically, the space you're in isn't going that fast. But like, it's bullshit, so who cares? But that is the theoretical purpose of the deflector shield. So yes, Enterprise does have a deflector array.
Yeah. So the way that this allegedly works is you can take your travel deflector to create a phase deflector pulse.
Right, an FDP,
Yep. Which you then ride. And it allows for much faster travel than at least Warp 5. It didn't really get into the specifics. Warp drives, of course, are the most common that we hear about in Star Trek. This is where you generate a subspace field that warps space around the ship. So to Stanford's point, you're still normal. You're just warping space around the ship to speed things up.
Okay, hold on. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
The subspace vortex, how is it different than what you just described?
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
My guess is they do not elaborate whatsoever.
They do not.
Shocker.
There are also subspace corridors. So these are natural phenomena. No special hardware needed. You just kind of ride it, which sounds pretty cool.
Is that like a wormhole or is that a different phenomenon?
No, that is a different natural phenomena that we will get to later.
What episodes do they do the subspace corridors in?
It, oh god, I don't have the episode down for this one, but it occurs in TNG.
Oh yeah, that figure. They were doing a fuck.
Not to be confused with the transwarp corridor.
Well, right, but transwarp corridors, those are like
no, it's a transwarp conduit.
Sure.
We'll also get to those.
Yeah, I was gonna say okay, yeah, those are constructed. They are not naturally occurring.
Yeah. Yeah, these are naturally occurring. It almost sounds like hyperlanes, which would be kind of neat. Soliton waves.
Right,
so this is an
waves.
experiment.
What the fuck?
Yep. It's an experiment from TNG. Basically, there was a species that used an array of what was called field coils that blasted out a huge wave of energy that the starship rides like a wave.
Oh, that's
like
right.
surfing.
I remember those because they those were outside the ship. Like yes, it was like an array you flew through. That's right.
Yeah. And theoretically, at the destination, another array would send out an interference blast that would then dissipate the wave so that you could stop.
Yeah, this is
in the episode of
this is a Lightyear style hyperspace, like the Disney movie Lightyear. Like that's basically what he was doing.
Oh yeah. It causes problems for TNG's Enterprise crew because the wave picked up power as it went, so that the array where the ship was going to end up didn't have the power to actually dissipate the wave. So they just solved that problem with some photon torpedoes.
Fuck yes.
Pathway drives. So this was introduced in Discovery as a method to decrease dependency on dilithium. I didn't see any explanation of how these drives worked. It was just mentioned that they were to decrease dependency on dilithium.
What was that? So obviously that's going to be in the future mode.
Yes.
I get. Was it just like an offhanded
end.
comment? Like, where the fuck is a pathway drive? I don't even remember that.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I haven't gotten this far in Discovery, so I can't tell you.
Like, I'm trying to think of who was flying a pathway drive. Like, is Bookship doing that? Rob, I'm going to need you to answer a lot of questions about something you don't know anything about.
Yep, I can't. Speaking of Discovery, Spore Drive, Power of Fungus, and tardigrades.
Oh, man. Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Space
so
fungus.
interstellar fungal network that you can just travel on like a high-speed telephone line, I guess. I don't know.
Invisible fungus network.
Yep. It's great that it's invisible.
My issue with the Spore Drive is that,
it's dumb and stupid.
Well, so, okay. Yes, but that's not my issue. Because, most of this is dumb and stupid, right? And that's fine.
Sure.
And it's fungus. Okay, shut the fuck up or whatever. But you cannot tell me that this laughably, insanely useful thing, that the fucking Federation's gonna be like, well, we'll just never talk about that ever again. Instantaneous travel across anywhere in the galaxy. And they're like, well, the Discovery went to the future. We're never going to do it again, ever again, never, ever again. Bye. And I know, it's because they had to retcon all this shit, right? But
yeah,
it was. The funny thing was the Spore Drive became far more interesting once they got to the future, where dilithium was scarce. That became a more interesting central tension, right? But then the ship also had infinite dilithium on it, which also was okay, what are we doing at this point? But
yeah, now we're gonna hit the tachyons. So you got tachyon sails. These were used by Bajoran lightships, using solar sails essentially.
Okay, I have a question. So tachyons, as I understand it, are particles that move so fast they technically move backwards in time. That seems like a really terrible propulsion method.
Transwarp conduits. Okay. So those were used by the Borg. So these emit tachyon bursts in the direction they want to travel, which then creates a conduit, so a little tunnel that just kind of sucks matter along it, and the Borg would just ride them.
Whee!
Graviton catapults. So now we're hitting all the gravitational stuff. Graviton catapults. use a massive graviton surge. You could propel a spaceship to like FTL speeds near instantaneously. This one was explored during the Voyager conspiracy theory episodes. This was actually a couple that I did watch. I remembered watching them much later. 7 of 9, I think, was the one like leading the whole investigation into this conspiracy theory. Graviton fields. So these, again, another natural occurring phenomenon. They can slingshot a spaceship huge distances, like halfway across the galaxy, which is what happens in TNG to the nth degree.
This stuff is funny because like fucking with gravity is how regular warp drive works. So like, what's different here? You know,
it's extra fucking with gravity.
It's space time. It's not gravity.
Those are the same thing.
Nope. Graviton beams.
Subspace graviton tachyon sails. Shut up.
Reverse the polarity.
Invert the warp field.
Hey, Travis did that shit
beams.
kind of, and it worked.
Yeah, except it was fake. Graviton beams. The Aldeans in TNG, this is from When the Bow Breaks. The Aldeans made a super powerful repulsor beam that used gravitons to propel their ships through interstellar travel. So similar to like light sail technology, where like they've talked about building light sails for ships on Earth, where you just shoot like a laser out behind it to give it some oomph, except with gravitons, because that's way cooler. Coaxial induction drives. So this lets the ship manipulate subatomic particles to fold space and travel huge distances.
Fold that bitch.
Fold it. This is another Voyager one.
Yeah, I think that's the one. That's the one that they tried to steal, and it didn't work. That's the one that Tuvok like betrayed Janeway, and she was all pissy about it.
Another Voyager one here, the quantum slipstream drive. It projects a focused quantum field, doesn't specify which one, with a ship's navigational deflector. Again, those things are super useful.
Man, that deflector does so many things.
Yeah. It punches through the quantum barrier and enters into a quantum slipstream. I feel like there's some Ant-Man plot in here somewhere.
I
like how they use the word quantum instead of subspace. Like that's the trick behind this drive.
Yeah, totally different. And then of course, wormholes, another natural phenomenon, real prevalent in Deep Space Nine for obvious reasons. And then the last one I've got here. Oh no, there are two more. One, there are some species in Star Trek that just use ion drives. That must take forever.
How does that work? So they don't FTL.
Well, ion drives are like that's the
standard impulse. Right? So they just don't.
No, I don't think so. Like ion propulsion is like, I think that's what the Voyager probes use.
The Voyager probes use like ejected gas because they have fuel and shit. You're thinking of those ion drive things that have been like theorized but never actually like have been made useful enough to actually work. I assumed in Star Trek ion drives were the impulse drives.
So in Federation starships, the impulse drive, this is from Memory Alpha. The impulse drive is essentially an augmented fusion rocket, usually consisting of one or more fusion reactors, a driver coil assembly, and a vectored thrust nozzle to direct the plasma exhaust.
Why would they use fusion for that instead of the antimatter?
Fusion reaction generated a highly energized plasma.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know what an ion drive. But also, like, is that FTL or not?
No.
I mean, it doesn't start as it. So, like, ion drives are... Let me see here. It's a form of electric propulsion used for spacecraft propulsion. Creates a cloud of positive ions from a neutral gas by ionizing it to extract some electrons from the atoms. The ions are then used to accelerate the vehicle.
Sounds like magic.
Ion drive. Yeah, but like, so what little I know about these, they take a while to build up because they're extremely fuel efficient, but they don't have a lot of oomph behind them.
It sounds like you're thinking of a ramjet.
I don't think that's what I'm thinking of. I don't think so anyway. Listen, I use these in Kerbal Space Program. They're super slow.
Oh, yeah. I don't think
But,
they are
like,
real in the real world.
Probably not. All right. And then last but not least here, temporal displacement drives.
What?
There's like this weird stretch of time. So like this is from Enterprise, from an episode we've seen, Future Tense. It's what all of the humans are using in Daniel's timeline, where like they just use temporal radiation to move quickly wherever they need to be and whenever they need to be.
I think I guess the idea is that you just use this drive that goes through time, so you just end up fast there before you wanted to be there.
Yeah. It's technically faster than light and time, but also slower than time, or sometimes opposite time.
So this whole discussion reminds me of a quote from Douglas Adams that I would like to read.
Okay.
This is from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, obviously. Nothing travels faster than the speed of light, with the possible exception of bad news, which obeys its own special laws. The Hinge-Friel people of Arkentufel Minor did try to build spaceships that were powered by bad news, but it didn't work particularly well and were so extremely unwelcome whenever they arrived anywhere that there really wasn't any point in being there.
I love that, and I've read it before.
Yes, it's one of my favorite quotes every time. I'm like, it's just the idea that they had a spaceship driven by bad news, but everywhere they went, no one wanted them there because they just brought bad news with them. Douglas Adams is fucking amazing. Was it the Bistro math went 14R, where R is the reasonable rate of speed anyone should need to go? So obviously 14 times that is very fast. Oh man, this is some of my favorite books.
It's just wild. And again, this goes back to the whole thing about technobabble and Star Trek. It's crazy the stuff that they will come up with. I mean, it's cool. Some of it is very cool.
Actually, you know what? You know what's interesting? There is another thing that travels faster than light. Transporters. There's been multiple times where they beam people into warp speed ships and shit in the various movies and shows and whatnot, right?
So interestingly, this was included in the article on Memory Alpha about FTL and different ships that have managed it. It sounds like the regular transporters don't, because there is a specific transporter that allows for transportation at warp speed.
Yeah, except that any transporter can become that when the plot needs it. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But transporters by definition travel faster than light because they go through subspace, right? So it's technically faster than light. Shut up.
I mean, sure, why not? Anyway, we're gonna take another little break here, and we'll be back for some potpourri.
Welcome back, everybody. So today for Potpourri, we're going to do a little bit of a fun game. It is not really a competitive game per se. It's just a game that we all get to play. Now, I was just telling my co-hosts as well as our producer that instead of water tonight, I decided to drink a half a bottle of wine. So I might be very bad at this game, but we'll see what happens. So in kind of the keeping of the theme of deception, I thought we could play a fun edition of Two Truths and a Lie.
Okay.
Are we familiar with how this game works?
Yes, you say three things, there's two truths, and we have to pick out the lie.
Totally played this with our kids at our fiber camp we had.
Hell yeah. Actually, it is because of you that I had the idea a couple weeks ago. Or last week.
Oh, I didn't know. I told you.
Yeah, you told me. That's what kept it fresh in my mind when I was like, I need a potpourri for this week. So, in this case, I am going to give you a category. That way we can kind of focus our truths and lies a little bit better. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, there's a couple ways to play this. One of them is you get a moment to write them down so that it's easier to sound more natural. So I think that we will do that if that is okay with y'all.
Okay.
Okay. So the first category is going to be unusual skills or just skills that like not every single person has. Like they don't have to be like crazy ass. I can turn my eyeballs inside out or weird like that. But like skills that like you wouldn't expect every single person to be able to do.
So we're all coming up with 2 truths and a lie?
Yes.
Okay.
Shit, this means I need like 2 skills that I have.
Yeah, I'm struggling right now.
I was going to say something very inappropriate about the size of something that all of you have, but I decided not.
What the fuck?
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, I'm ready. You good, Rob?
No, I'm not ready.
Okay. The skills one may be the hardest one, so hopefully the others will be a little easy.
Okay, good. Man.
I'm ashamed.
Skills.
I'm ashamed at how
Like,
hard
I
it
can't
was to
do
come
shit.
up with 2 skills. Like, Mariah, are you playing?
You're like, yeah, but they also have to be like,
I wasn't
somewhat
planning
interesting.
on it.
Right?
Did you want me to?
You don't have to if you don't want to. Yeah, this is gonna be finally getting to know the host of your podcast a little bit. I can't tell if Rob is writing a dissertation.
God, no, I'm just trying to come up with good ones that I don't know that you guys necessarily know I can do.
Oh, I wouldn't worry too much about the strategy. Like, we're not competing here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just fun. Be fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Be fun, Rob. Come on. Usually I'm the one everyone says this is fun.
Usually,
Rob's that person at the table that's like, just everyone start ordering. I'll be ready by the time you get to me. And then they're also not ready at that point.
Okay, I'm good.
All right. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first, I guess.
Alrighty.
So, my 3 are: I can beatbox a little, I can speed read, and I can do card tricks.
Define speed read.
I want to hear the beatboxing.
Like, skim through a text and understand it as much as I need to.
What was the last one again?
Do card tricks.
Card tricks. I don't know. I call bullshit on the beatboxing.
I'm gonna go with the card tricks.
Rob is correct. I cannot do card tricks.
Well, now, of course, I will have to demand.
I want to remind you. My statement was a little.
We will absolutely not make fun of you.
All right. There you go. That's all you get.
All right, I'm annoyed at how like genuinely good that was. Like, fuck you, dude.
That was amazing.
Oh man, that's gonna be a fun thing to edit. Jesus Christ.
The rest of us don't have to demonstrate our
Yeah,
skills.
mine are not something that I can demonstrate on the fucking podcast. So how fast can you speed read?
Mostly I use it when I'm doing legal document stuff at work, and I just, I can go through like a power of attorney document in like 5 minutes.
Jesus
get all
Christ.
the information I need.
Crazy.
Good lord.
Rob, do you want to go next or you want me to go next?
Sure, yeah, I can go next.
Okie doke.
I can play the violin. I can move my pinky toe independently of my other toes. I can speak Spanish.
All right. The Spanish one is a lie.
Yeah. You speak French, right?
Mariah?
Yeah, you can't. The Spanish one is a lie.
Yeah. I took French in high school and Japanese in college.
All right,
I do all 3 of those things because you've definitely shown me the toe
I've
thing
definitely
before.
never seen this toe thing. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why I can move it independently of my other toes.
Very
really weird.
Very interesting. All right. So, okay. At 13, I learned to fly a small single-engine aircraft. At before my injury, I learned kind of like by myself. I learned to juggle up to 4 balls at a time, like beanbag balls, not like testicles. Like that'd be a completely different skill.
Mm.
And I currently bake wedding cakes semi-professionally.
The wedding cake
Juggling.
one.
It is the juggling. Yeah, I don't.
For some reason, I thought for sure you told me you could juggle.
I never learned how to. I never figured that shit out. Like I tried a couple times, and I was like, "This is bullshit. No one could juggle. It's all fake." Like
Kelsey can juggle.
My mom can juggle.
Yeah, so can Chris Dezura. Y'all suck. Fuck you. It's fake. It's fake news. Yes,
We just did a
we
wedding
literally
cake.
just did a wedding cake like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And yes, I learned to fly an airplane in an organization called Civil Air Patrol. So yes,
I knew the airplane one for sure because I remember you talking about it actually not even that long ago.
All right, next category: guilty pleasures.
Wait, what about Mariah?
She said she didn't want to do it.
I said I would.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mariah. Go ahead.
I can turn red lights green. I can mimic the calls of most birds. I can break bolts.
It's the red light one?
So I'm married to her. I know the answer to this.
Like, that's not a thing people can do on their own.
Which one?
The red light?
Yeah, Rob, what do you think?
I mean, the red light green thing is definitely true because she's never actually looking at it, and when she's not looking at it, that's when it turns green.
Every time, Chris. Every time she looks away, the light turns green.
It's like,
every fucking
it's like a freaking
time.
magic trick.
It's insane. The thing I say to my wife the most in the car is, "You can go." That's what I have to say to her because she's never looking at the fucking light and it immediately turns green.
Yep.
Yeah, and
I see what's
when
happening
it's not
here.
Stanford saying it, it's Kelsey saying it.
Kelsey says it a lot too.
Yep.
It's my superpower.
Yeah, she can't.
I'm gonna go with the mimicking bird
Yeah,
calls.
she can't mimic bird calls for shit. It's funny to hear her
Yeah,
try.
good job.
Actually.
You got it, Rob.
Yeah, she definitely has the and I'm like my baby is strong as shit because she has definitely torqued the head off of bolts.
Multiple bolts.
Like that has happened more than once in our marriage. Like Chris is googling like what does it take to turn a low red light green?
No, I'm getting started on the next
okay.
next subject.
Yeah, so the next topic is guilty pleasures.
All right, I'm ready.
I am also ready.
I am also ready. You good, Mariah?
Motherfuckers.
Honey.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I'll go first this time. So guilty pleasures. Waterworld is one of my very favorite movies. I read like kind of a lot of fantasy romance books. And when I order fast food, I like really like it when I like can dip my fries in the Coke or Sprite, especially Coke because it gives it a nice like dark sweet flavor.
It's the fries and Coke.
It's the fries because you don't like fries.
I don't like fries. That is correct. Yeah, I read like 2 whole Sarah J. Maas series like within the last
I was
month.
leading the book thing at first, but I'm like, that seems like something he could be. Let's hear the third.
All right, Rob, you want to go?
Sure. So in a similar vein here, romance anime, peanut butter milk chocolate smidgens from Gertrude Hawk,
What's a smidgen?
and they're just little like chocolate candies, like smidge as in smidgens.
Got it.
Sure.
Yep. And Speyside scotches.
Say that last word again.
Speyside scotches.
I don't know what that is. I need more explanation.
I don't think it's the scotches.
Speyside is a region of Scotch production.
Oh, okay.
What was?
Yeah, I don't think you're a Scotch guy.
What was your first one again, Rob?
I don't think it's that type of scotch.
Romance animes.
It could be that one. I don't think it's the scotch
I think
one.
it's the smidgens.
No, he definitely likes the smidgens. That's how I know about smidgen.
Chris?
He said the scotch.
Mine was the Scotch, yeah.
Scotch. Okay. It is the Scotch. I love Speyside scotches, but I haven't been drinking now for like the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So it is no longer a guilty
Like,
pleasure.
you want to make
Oh,
you
fucking
drink.
technicality. What the shit? Because like I know, like no, Rob loves scotch. I know this about him.
Matthews should have been, I love walking.
It's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Guilty pleasure.
Long walks on the beach. Yeah.
All right, so I've got fast food. Enjoy fast food. Too much. I watch The Bachelor, and I also enjoy isekai animes.
It's The Bachelor.
That's The Bachelor.
I think
yeah.
it's fast food. Chris, you don't like fast food that much.
Like I do, yeah, I do like fast food.
Oh, okay. The
Like
Bachelor
I
seemed
really
more
like
fun.
good food. I like making good food. I enjoy like going out to restaurants and stuff. But like I can get down on some fucking burgers, man.
Oh man,
Like,
fuck. Now I'm hungry.
You also used to love your ass some Taco Bell.
I did.
Oh,
yeah,
and
that's
Jimmy
true.
John's.
Yep. I've never
yeah.
once watched The Bachelor ever.
Yeah, your heart wasn't in it when you said it.
I think I watched the very first Bachelor because my mom and my stepdad were watching it when I was like in middle school or high school.
Also, like isekai animes, I do watch them, and 9 out of 10 of them are just fluff. But you know, it's a fun thing to have on.
Hell yeah!
Another
Yeah.
thing.
All right, honey.
All right. I love the smell of laundry detergent so much that I like to go down the laundry detergent aisle in the grocery store. I really love rap music, and I like to be tickled.
Tickling.
I know nothing of your musical tastes.
It's more fun for Chris to guess mine.
Yeah.
This is way more
'Cause
fun,
you
yeah.
and Matthew know me too well.
The laundry thing seems plausible. Lauren loves the smell of bleach, so like she'll bleach my like white undershirts, and then just like
Okay,
smell the shit out of them. Rap music.
I do not like to be tickled.
No, God, she will fucking punch you in the face if you even try to tickle her.
Oh, I
But-
think that runs in the family.
Yeah, but to be very clear, loving the smell of laundry and bleach are two different things.
Well, yeah, but there's they're in the same vein of like chemical.
That explains my crossover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've opened a bottle of Tide and just given it a sniff.
Yeah, if you've ever
Many a
seen someone
time.
in the grocery store huffing Tide, it's Mariah. All right, next category. Mildly, and like to the extent that you're willing to share, mildly embarrassing secrets.
I'm good.
There's one more category after this. So.
And I'm going with things that it's embarrassing that I have learned very recently.
Yeah, those are mildly embarrassing secrets.
All right, I'm ready.
You good, Rob?
Yep, I'm good.
All right, Mariah, why don't you start us off this time?
So things that I've recently learned that's kind of embarrassing. That Alaska is not an island off of the coast of the United States.
Damn.
All right, Judgy. Jesus.
That I recently learned that the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia is named after Benjamin Franklin. And I learned that the words are not to the song I Got My Mind Set on You. I used to think it was I Got My Sail on You.
The Alaska one.
Yeah, I think it's Alaska.
It's definitely the Alaska one.
Is that what Chris said or the last one?
Alaska, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's the Alaska one.
Okay.
I knew that. I did not know
Like
that it
you're
was
smarter
Benjamin Franklin.
than that. Come on.
She fucking walks into the Franklin
Yeah.
Institute. There's a statue of Ben Franklin. She's like, "Oh, the Franklin Institute." Like, ah,
I remember you telling me that story. Yeah.
I used to think that the words for dirty deeds done dirt cheap were dirty deeds and the Thunder Chief, like they were two dudes, like dirty
Which
deeds
sounds like a cool song.
and the Thunder Chief, like they were some like badass
does
duo
sound like a
that's like a
cool
song. Sounds like a
biker
cool song.
and like a Native American, like going across the West. But instead, it's just dirty deeds done dirt cheap, which is just dumb as shit. My song would have been better. All right, do you want me to go, Rob? You want to go?
I can go.
Okay.
All right. I'm very bad at trivia.
Secrets, Rob. We said secrets.
I look up Gen Alpha slang on Urban Dictionary to talk with my nephew.
Ah,
I found out Santa was fake at a young age and pretended I thought he was real because I was afraid my parents would stop giving me presents.
Like, it's got to be the Urban Dictionary one, right? Because all
Yeah,
you're going to find
that's
is
what I was
sex
thinking.
moves on that.
Aww.
It's the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, I think you told me about the Santa Claus one because I'm like, that's the most
Yeah.
depressing thing I've ever heard.
that sounds like a story I've heard from you before.
All right, I'll go next, Chris, if that's all right.
Yep.
All right, I was once pantsed during gym class in high school, much to the laughter of my fellow classmates. I wet the bed until I was 18 years old. And I openly wept while watching Bo Burnham's Inside the first time.
I feel like that one's true, for sure. The gym class one.
Yeah, I also think it's the pantsing.
Honey, do you know?
I know it's the pants.
Yeah. I've never been pantsed. But yes, I wet the bed till I was 18 years. I was a senior in high school when I finally stopped wetting the bed.
Yeah.
Which is
just in time for college.
Which is extra ironic because now that I am a quadriplegic, it happens again. So like that's a fun. I've literally wet the bed more than I haven't my entire life.
Oh man.
Which actually, without the quadriplegia, would still have been true up to 3 years ago.
Oh, Jesus. Oh man. All right. So I once made an excuse to take a walk at a wedding and go outside, and that was because I needed to throw up because I had a bad combination of alcohol and lots of barbecue. Was
it your wedding?
No, it was not my wedding.
No, that was me at his wedding.
That tracks.
Oh
yeah.
God, that's right.
That tracks. I have trusted a fart in public when I shouldn't have more than once. And
Classic.
I was wearing shorts commando one time, and somebody saw my junk.
So, Chris, you are a fellow man of gravity. There's no fucking way you were wearing shorts commando. Like,
Yeah, I don't buy that one.
that's the one I'm not going with.
I agree.
Okay, so I do wear shorts commando. However,
Not in public.
that was not the one. That was a lie. Yeah.
So you have as I understand it, mildly pooped yourself several times.
Not several, like twice. I said more than once. Just mildly is the appropriate. It's like, I got a fro. No, that's not one.
And Hoopst among us hasn't excused themselves from a wedding so they can go throw up.
I don't think Rob has.
Yeah, I have not.
It was great because it was at night at that point, so like it was dark. It was like at like a barn, and so I'm like, I'm gonna just take a walk for a minute.
Oh man, it's a good thing it was dark because like barbecue vomit is a special like type of vomit.
It was
You don't
rough
wanna
because
see
I'd
that.
had a few drinks and that part was fine, but then I put like a good amount of barbecue.
Yeah,
on
like
top
an
of that.
entire like rack of ribs from a cow.
Yeah, it was
like
a bad choice.
yeah.
It was a bad choice.
Yeah, I have never like gotten so drunk that I've thrown up. I have helped a lot of drunk people that have thrown up.
I don't do it much. I could count the number of times I've thrown up from drinking. I think on one hand.
From drinking, it's happened to me 3 times. Your wedding, once in college, and then at that one Smiles K in 2010.
Did you throw up in France?
Oh, fuck, France. I'm sorry, 4. I was in high school. I forgot about that one. Shit. That's the first time. I was like 17, 16. Yeah, 4 times. 4 times I've thrown up because I drank too much alcohol.
Yeah, probably about the same, I think.
And to be honest, the one in college was mostly because I drank too much alcohol and a lot of olives because we were having martinis. And
Yeah,
like,
that's kind of how it was with me in the barbecue.
yeah, olives do something to your stomach in
salt.
addition to all that vermouth.
They're acidic too, yeah.
All right, last category. Things you wanted to be when you grew up. Now, before high school, because once you're in high school, like you're making plans at that point. So like as a kid, things you wanted to be when you grew up. I'm good, by the way.
I am also good.
I am also good.
Good.
Oh, to be clear, because this may pertain to Mariah, that does not include whatever your current actual job or like what you actually ended up doing as a career.
Yeah, I figured. Not that this was anything close to what I ever wanted to do. But hey.
I don't understand why that applies to me.
Because I know you wanted to be a PT for like a long time before you became a PT.
In high school.
Oh, that was high school. Okay, that is why I put that initial caveat. Okay, I guess like Rob, is it your turn to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Astronaut, paleontologist, architect.
Go
Astronaut.
astronaut.
Astronaut. You don't like heights.
Dude, I freaking love space.
Oh,
Oh no!
Dude, do you remember how obsessed I was about going to space camp and I never got to go to
Oh
space
man,
camp?
I went to space camp. It was badass.
is it the architect then?
It's the architect,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess architect's kind of
man.
a big one for
So,
little kids.
I'm
Yeah,
going-
that's more
so
of
it's
an
funny.
adult's dream right there.
I took a class in high school on architecture. I think Chris, you were in
Yes,
that, weren't you?
yeah. Fucking cat.
But I
man,
took it
Jesus.
because
Hell yeah!
my mom suggested it because she knew that I really liked building stuff. Did not like architecture at all.
Okay.
It was awful.
Didn't know that.
I'm gonna go next because 2 out of 3 of mine are the same as 2 out of 3 of Rob's.
You fucking nerds.
So I had architect, fighter pilot, and astronaut.
Architect.
Astronaut.
That is correct. I never wanted to be an astronaut.
I almost put
interesting.
astronaut on my list.
Yeah,
I should have put astronaut on my list.
astronaut was always like the cliche thing that all kids wanted to be, but I was like, and I liked space. I went to space camp, like I had a great time, but I never really wanted to be an astronaut. I've always wanted to be a fucking fighter pilot. And then like, there was like a 3 or 4 year period where I was dead set on being an architect. And I was like 11. Like it was a weird time to be super into architecture.
Okay.
You can go next.
Okay. So I've got veterinarian, game designer, and dog breeder.
See, dog breeder's weird, but like that seems like a big like he's putting that there on purpose. Like
Dog breeder, but like dog breeders are bad people. So like,
Yeah.
he's gonna think they're gonna think this is a lie. All dog breeders are bad. What?
yeah,
I think it's the vet.
dog breeders are no good.
I'm gonna go with veterinarian too
I was
because
also
that was a girl's dream.
damn. I was gonna go with vet because Chris gets grossed out by stuff.
So it is vet. So when I was like a kid, like first grade, I remember wanting to be a dog breeder because I'd seen because I liked puppies.
What a dream! What a dream! I want to make so many
zero
puppies.
knowledge. Yeah.
He's like, I would like to.
obviously,
I would like to
after
produce
getting a
so
little
many
bit
puppies
older.
that I was practically like a mill of puppies.
Yeah. So after I got older, obviously I learned more about that situation. So my innocence was shattered. But yeah, and then game designer was when I was a little bit older because
That's so
obviously
cute.
I was
Sure, we
into
all
video
had that one.
games.
Yeah. No, dog breeders are bad people.
Yeah.
Like purebred dogs is bad. Don't do that.
Mhm. I just wanted puppies. Okay.
Yeah. As a child, that's fine. All right, honey.
Okay. Mine are a veterinarian, a lawyer, a pediatrician.
Huh.
Lawyer?
I'm also going to say lawyer. You were super into David the Gnome, which kind of covers like veterinarian and pediatrician.
I'm gonna say pediatrician.
Yeah, it's lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is funny because I don't like kids.
Jesus Christ. If
When I was
you
little,
had to give Mariah a choice right now, it's like you have to go become a lawyer or a pediatrician right now. She would be like, lawyer, 100%. Fuck those kids.
Fuck them kids.
Kids are already bad enough, but like sick and sad kids, the worst.
Sick. I don't get like what. Oh yeah. Why do you want to be with sick kids?
Well, you
That's
did at some
depressing.
point apparently.
At least, yeah. At least, well, when I got older, because at least I like working with the geriatric population because at least they're supposed to be sick.
Do you have any times
not as
where I came
depressing.
home and it's like, I was like, how was work, sweetie? And she's like, this patient needs to die. It's like, Jesus Christ. And she's like, it's a 98-year-old cancer patient on hospice, but for some reason they ordered PT. Like,
Oh jeez.
Yep.
I didn't get a name, so don't worry. She wasn't violating HIPAA. Jesus Christ. All right, well, that was a fun little game. That's gonna cut down nicely when I truncate all that silence out of there. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Like we say at the top and the bottom, please go ahead and throw us a like, a rating, a review, subscribe to our podcast, go check out our YouTube channel. Tell your friends, get some more ears. We are steadily gaining listeners on Spreaker, according to the statistics. So like some of you are doing it, but not all of you. So get out there. Show them how hilariously awesome we are. Otherwise, I bid you all a good night and hope that you have a good week. We will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Captain's Log Supplemental. You can follow us on Twitter at PodCLS or send us hate mail at podcls3@gmail.com.